Right, Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford, right? That fight in, say, 2017, 2018, that was a fight that I just couldn't wait to see. That was just a fight I really, really, really wanted to see. Then we had Errol Spence have his car crash, and, we knew he would come back, but we didn't know exactly how he'd look. We kind of thought to ourselves, Jesus, is he going to be okay? If he is coming back, is there going to be residual damage? Is it going to take years off his career? Is his punch resistance going to go? He's going to be all there mentally. We had a lot of questions that needed to be asked, but he answered them against Danny Garcia, and I thought he emphatically answered them. He beat Danny Garcia more convincingly than Porter and Thurman did. So I was really, really happy to see Spence back. I was happy to see him back. I was happy to see him look good. And I was hoping that maybe he'd really kind of moved on in every aspect, not just in terms of physically, but mentally, his whole demeanour, from where he was before the car crash to where he is now. I was hoping we get to see the Crawford fight, because whilst we were waiting for Errol Spence to return to the ring, we thought to ourselves, well, at least I did, I thought, right, Spence might not be the same fighter. So that fight, Crawford-Spence, that I was really intrigued at a couple of years ago, maybe it doesn't have the same appeal now because we don't know what Spence we're going to get, but we know now we have quite a good Errol Spence. It was just disappointing when we see Spence coming out with statements. I think he said either 60-40 in his favour or 70-30 in his favour in order to make that Crawford fight. When you're talking about unifications and things like that, 70-30, to me, in some ways that implies he doesn't want to fight. Alright? Now, some people might say, Spence has more titles. He does. He's the bigger name. He's sold better on pay-per-view. He's sold out more arenas. That, I do not discount. Now, I fully understand that. I understand that. But you're talking about unification between the two best in the division. Right? And you are coming out and saying, because Spence, for the last few years, has been saying to Terence Crawford, if you want this fight, you got to cross the street. You got to cross the street. Using those sayings that, like, this fight can't happen while you're with Bob Arum and I'm with PBC. Things like that, they just imply to me that this fight is a far away from happening, that Errol Spence realistically doesn't want the fight. Alright, now I'm not saying for 1 second that Errol Spence is scared of Terence Crawford or anything like that. Hell no. I think that Spence would, if he got everything his own way, he got the right amount of money and Terence Crawford was a PBC fighter, no doubt he'd jump in there. But I don't know, it's like Spence wants, it's almost to me as if Spence wants these bigger names, because he was ringside for Canelo versus Smith. We've heard for the last year and a bit about possibility of Canelo versus Errol Spence at 160. That'd be a jump of 2 weight divisions. I know Errol Spence is big, but he's not that goddamn big. I don't think that's a good move for him. Him against Canelo, certainly not. Him against Crawford, I think the purist fans, like the hardcores like us, really want to see that. I think even the casual market wouldn't mind seeing it as well. I just think that's a good fight. It's a fight I want to see. It's a fight I think a lot of others want to see. And it seems as though Terence Crawford is just willing. He's willing to go in there, do what he needs to do to get this fight made and fight Errol Spence. Whereas Errol Spence, it seems like his list is long in order to get this fight made. And as I was saying, I'm not saying for a second that Errol Spence is afraid of Terence Crawford. Not at all. I'm sure if circumstances were different, he would fight Terence Crawford. But it's an eyebrow raiser. It's an eyebrow raiser when you hear him say things like 70-30, 60-40. Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, is it 50-50? 55-45 maybe in Spence's favour, because he does have the more belts, he is slightly the bigger draw. But just saying that, his pay-per-view numbers aren't jaw-dropping necessarily. He does good numbers, but not jaw-dropping. I just want to see this fight. It's just, you get the impression, right, Crawford's with Bob Arum till 2021, October 2021. And after that, I think he's free to do whatever he wants. Will Errol Spence have moved up by then? Will Team Canelo look at Errol Spence and think, you know what, he's really a welterweight. We can make middleweight for this fight and go down the Canelo road. And whilst I think that's a good fight, Canelo versus Spence, I think I know the result. Whereas Crawford Spence, I'd lean towards Crawford, but I wouldn't even dare rule Spence out. Like, when I say lean towards Crawford, I mean like 55-45 Crawford. Like, it's not close. Like, it's almost a pick'em fight. It's a fight I want to see. So again, and it's a fight that I think, like, maybe we could see. I want to see this fight, and then you hear stuff like cross the other side of the street. You know where we are, across the street. Okay, you want to fight me 70-30? It's like, come on, let's get this fight made. Man, let's get this fight made. Stop with all these demands. Let's get this fight made. I know I'm not the one in Team Spence or Team Crawford. I'm not there, but as a boxing fan, I want to see the best fight the best. And I hate hearing things like that, like crossing the street and, money, always being, oh, I get the bigger percent. I want the, the hell, I want the, it's like, come on, man. Let's get these fights made. Man, let's get these fights made. Especially nowadays where we're in a time where, well, at one stage we didn't think we'd see boxing this year at one stage. I mean, it was real touch and go there for a few months back in April to June. Real touch and go. So, times like this, we want to see these fights get made now. Especially with what's going on with the economy in the world. We want to see these fights get made now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, right? For 2021, there's a lot of fights we want to see. There's some good fights that have already been made, like Estrada Gonzalez fight. I can't wait for. Can't wait for that fight. There's fights we think we might get, Fury Wilder or Fury Joshua. Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor. Good fights. I want to see Crawford Spence. I really want to see that fight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections below. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Of course, if you did, smash the like button. It really does help out. Subscribe if you haven't already. We get the sub feed going. We're going to a new year. We got new goals. Right? I want to hit 4K as quick as I can. Alright? So, subscribe if you haven't already. #GMansRocks, King of Rip Jeans, all that good stuff. Lads, I'll talk to you. Peace.